People often ask me what it takes to make it in the music industry, and I love to talk about that stuff, but usually people don't like my answers because it's not what they expect to hear. So today I'm going to give you my top 6 very unpopular opinions on what it takes to make it in the music industry. Number 1, make sure that every single day you're making a higher percentage of good decisions than bad decisions. Oh, and in case you're wondering why I'm doing this video walking around outside, it's because I spend most of my life inside the studio and it was so beautiful outside. I thought for once I'd do a video outside and finally get around to using a selfie stick, which I've never done before. Anyway, back to the program. I know you probably thought I was going to say hustle, gotta hustle a lot. Well, I got to tell you, man, I know plenty of people that work really hard and hustle a lot, and they don't get anywhere because they're just kind of spinning their wheels because they're not making good decisions. I mean, it really does come down to all the decisions that you're making each day. There's hundreds of them and thousands of them that are going to stack up over the course of your career and your lifetime, and that cumulatively is going to have a bigger effect on your career than anything else. And most of these other tips I have kind of fall under the decision subject. I think I only know so much about this stuff is because I made so many bad decisions, but I've somehow managed to eke out a slightly higher percentage of good ones than bad ones. The other key about making decisions is knowing the difference between a good decision and a bad decision. And that's the real key there. But I think it comes down to education and also being honest with yourself and being real about what it is that you are capable of or what you suck at. And, just be honest with yourself and be clear-headed about it. Number 2, be very careful about who you decide to work with. You should always be prepared to cut ties or get out of your comfort zone and work with new people. You see, if you really want to get ahead, you want to make sure that you're the dumbest, most untalented, laziest person in the room at all times. Because if you find yourself being the most talented and most driven person in the room, you're probably doing something wrong, and it's probably time for you to move on. It's like that saying, you're known by the company that you keep. And I used to interpret that in kind of a weird way, but as I got older, I thought of it this way. Let's just say you're super smart, you got a great education, and you go back home, and you're hanging out with all your old buddies, and they happen to be car thieves. And you're like, I'm not going to steal a car. I'm just going to hang out with them a little bit. Well, trust me, if you keep hanging out with them, eventually you're going to get caught up in stealing a car. On the other hand, you could be the dumbest dude around, but if you're hanging out with really smart people, really talented, driven people, that is going to rub off on you and help you move up. Number 3 has to do with financial stuff. Do not live beyond your means. You need to make sure that you are preparing yourself for a very hard career. So don't get yourself into a lot of debt early in your life. I'll tell you a little story about something. I had a guy about 2 or 3 years ago in the studio, just amazing, great songs, but he was really struggling to come up with the rest of the money to finish his album. And we're sitting in the studio, he's going on and on about how to raise money and kind of asking me for a break, which I was already giving him, talking for an hour, trying to come up with ideas how to raise the money and all that. And when we walk outside, I walk out there with him, and he's got a brand new, beautiful sports car. It's a nicer car than I'm ever going to own. And I take one look at that car, and I'm like, well, there's your album, because he had just bought it. And it's not like he had a great job. I mean, this guy's making payments on this thing. It's like, well, there's your album right there, sitting in my driveway. Number 4, focus. This is probably the thing I've struggled with the most. You got to keep your blinders on, man. This is going to take a while. And you just got to keep your head down and keep moving forward towards the goals that you set up. Don't get distracted. Don't get discouraged and start heading off in a million different directions. It's just going to wear down your energy. But it's also important to make sure that you're keeping the people that are helping you and working with you motivated. I mean, you can't do this on your own. You have to have other people helping you. And if you're going in this direction and that direction and changing this up, people are going to drop off and they're going to lose faith in what you're doing. The people that I've worked with that have become very successful were like machines, man. That nothing was going to stop them, but it was all about their focus, to the point where I remember being younger and just being kind of shocked by some of these people. I'd never met people like that, but over time I got to understand it a little bit better. Focus. Number 5, be cool. I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but if you ain't cool and you ain't a good person, it will get around this business. Music business is pretty small, folks, and your reputation will precede you, and it's very, very important. My friend Collie Park once said something to me. He said, anybody will work with you if you have a hit or just had a hit. But they'll continue working with you for years if they like you. I'm not sure if he's trying to send me a message or something, because I used to be kind of a hard ass. But I don't know, man. It's a small business. You don't want to screw people over. And also remember this very important thing, and that is all business is relationships. That's what it is, man. Relationships. And finally, last but not least, number 6 is constantly develop and evolve your talent. Now, you would think that I would make that number 1, and that's what I used to think when I was younger. But I got to tell you, if you think that all it takes is talent, you're going to have a problem. Look, I've done this in another video where I show all these hard drives here. I've got stacks of them around this room filled with great stuff. Talented people that never learned how to move beyond just having talent, thinking that that alone was going to be enough. It isn't, folks. But it's a very competitive business. And you'd better be talented, and you'd better be evolving and developing that, and evolving with the changing industry, technologically, stylistically, business-wise. That all kind of ties into it. Because at the end of the day, what really matters is the work that you do, what you're putting out there. I can tell you I've made a few mistakes over the years, and I think the only thing that saved me in most of those cases was my work. Well, those are my 6 tips for making it in the music industry. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them below. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.